Hello again everyone, Lucas Berry here for White Dog Rail, and I know it's been a while since we've been able to get together trackside, but we're back together now, and that's what's the most important thing. So, I've been working on this video for a while now. It's an idea that I had back in the early spring, and it took me till now to get everything filmed and edited and all that stuff. An idea sometimes forms and it takes you a little while to make it come to fruition, but you know what, that's alright. So today's video, as you may have noticed, is called Overlooking the New River Subdivision. And that is because here along New River we are blessed to be able to have such natural beauty, and that has inspired some scenic overlooks. And as anywhere, you'll have some bridges, and that means that. So, in a effort to get a different view of the rails, we're going to be taking a look at some shots that are filmed over the railroad, or higher than the railroad at least. So that's what we're going to do. We've got Cotton Hill, we've got Hawks Nest, we've got South Fayette, and we've got overlooking Thurman, which is a really interesting view. So you might recall me back in January in my video Cold on Amtrak on New River. I said that I would never stand on the Cotton Hill Bridge. Turns out I was a liar, because I did. And let me tell you, it took a lot of courage to do that, but I'm really glad I did. It was interesting. It really was. But you know what? We got it. I think this turned out well. So, in our return trackside, well, in this case, not trackside, above the railroad. Let's get going. This is Overlooking the New River Subdivision. The first time I summoned up the courage to film here was when I got a tip that Amtrak 51, the westbound Cardinal, had headed unit number 130 leading. I didn't have much time to get trackside, and since Cotton Hill was the closest location on the railroad to me, I had no choice. Number 130 honors Amtrak's Phase 2 paint scheme, which first came along in the 1970s. A few months later, I decided it was high time I got an eastbound shot here, so I ventured out for Amtrak 50. I had a little more time to wait than normal, but I was okay with that because it gave me a chance to start thinking about what happened here at Cotton Hill back in the day. At one time, C&O passenger train the fast-flying Virginian as well as local passenger trains 14 and 15 stopped here. This was considered the depot for the town of Fayetteville. Today, the depot is still around and used by CSX. Oh, and by the way, that signal called Blue Hole you just heard, that actually was the location of, or at least near the location of, Blue Hole Tunnel, which when they first built the line was in existence, but it was daylighted, meaning blown out to the top, in the 1930s as the C&O was doing a lot of track work and generally improving the railroad. That evening, I was sitting at home watching a football game when I came across a post on social media that said 51 had Amtrak 203, the Operation Lifesaver unit leading. So I found out they were running late and it hadn't passed me yet, so back to the bridge I went. I wasn't planning on going out twice, but I'm really glad I did. And you know what? As terrifying as it was filming on a highway bridge, I would do it again in a heartbeat. We move up the line a little bit to Hawks Nest, West Virginia, and as trains pass through here, they pass the location of the old C&O interlocking tower, MA Cabin. I love hearing this signal being called. I don't know why, but I do.
Clear signal MA Cabin 409.0 50L.
MA Cabin controlled the switchgear that connected the number 1 and number 2 mains. The number 1 main, of course, is out of service, and that crossover now is at Cotton Hill. You might be wondering why it's called MA Cabin. Well, believe it or not, there used to be a town on top of that mountain called McDougal. McDougal had a station right where number 1 and number 2 split, and the station's call sign was MA. Moving upriver a few more miles, we find ourselves overlooking the track at the Canyon Rim Overlook. Now, if you come here, you'll get some excellent views of the New River Gorge Bridge, but in a hurry, me forgot to do that. So if you're ever here and choose to come to this overlook, do me a favor and make up for me missing it. I did not miss the train though. I came here in March before a lot of the tourists started showing up and making things a lot more crowded. I have to say, I kind of like this viewpoint. I should say something. If you're gonna come to this overlook, be prepared to walk up steps. It's down going to the overlook, but you gotta climb out, and there's almost 200 steps here, so make sure you're prepared for that. The out of shape part of me figured that out real fast on the way up. Hey, could you tell it was windy when I shot this? I think it turned out pretty good though. One more stop for today, and I bet you've never seen Thurman like this before. This is Concho Overlook outside Minden, West Virginia. I love coming here because you can see right into Thurman and get a great view of Rush Run siding. Of course, the view of the siding isn't all that great right now because of the trees in the summer, but come back here in fall or winter and you'll really be able to see it. We'll try and come back and highlight that later on this year. Now, on to today's business. I tried this shot back in May and I didn't really like it, so I decided it was time to come back and try it again. Knowing 50 was coming through, I made my way over and set up. Only about 5 minutes of waiting and here she came.
Tripio 5030, 5121, eastbound on the main, clear signal at Fire Creek.
Now here's a signal that means a lot to me for a very personal reason. My dad's dad grew up in Fire Creek in the 1920s, and in the early 30s, he and the family moved to the plateau town of Winona, West Virginia. Now when I say plateau, I mean up from the gorge. And in Winona, in the 1930s, the Depression was going on. And so he had to get a job to help support the family. Well, his job was to run mail between Winona and Nuttleburg. And of course, mail was carried by train at that point. So that was one of the really cool instances, at least to me, of my family interacting with the railroad. Is he would have to take the mail from Winona, bring it down to Nuttleburg so it could be taken out on the train, take the mail coming off the train, and take it up to Winona. That's pretty cool, if you ask me.
Tokyo 5030 with 121 eastbound on the main, clear signal at Thurman and arriving.
Thurman, be behind 2, including the dead end.
Understand, 2.
That'll do. If you contact your 6 please clear park, Thurman. Killer.
Alright, understand, departing Thurman, killer.
Now, you didn't think we'd leave CSX out of this, did you? I mean, it is their railroad, for crying out loud. This is E118. Coal empties from Newport News, Virginia to Peach Creek Yard, Logan, West Virginia. I had no idea this guy was back there. Only when I heard him giving Amtrak a rolling inspection did I even begin to think there was someone in the vicinity. He was waiting on Amtrak to clear that single track section. And once he did, he got the highball out of town.
Westbound empty, you look good, you have a marker up there.
Alright, appreciate it. Y'all have a good day.
Tokyo 5030 with 121 eastbound on clear, Claremont.
Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, be sure to like the video if you did like it. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already done so, and hit that bell to be notified when a new video gets posted. Leave a comment down below if you are so inclined as well. I'll try to read them all and get back to as many as I can. So until next time, somewhere on the railroad, we will be trackside next time. I'm Lucas Berry for White Oak Rail.